That music makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Absolutely brilliant. Good evening, TFA world. Good evening, Hollywood Balls. Tonight, it's a privilege because it's going to be a Geordie and George catch-up. Good evening, one and all. George, can you remember an old TV show called This Is Your Life?
Oh, yes. I remember This Is Your Life.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a bit like that tonight because I'm going to be putting you through the paces and memories and what have you. But I want to start with the Euros because it's what we're all about. It's what we're doing here. And just talking to a few footballing people, which I'll announce later on in the show. What's your take on the competition so far? Because I've got a couple of questions for you. But as far as excitement and play goes, it's been fantastic, hasn't it?
Yes, it's been. There have been many Euros competition which have not been exciting in the first phase. This first phase, starting with the very first game, set the tone. The only dull games, I would say, will be England versus Croatia, perhaps, and Scotland's first game. Other than that, it's been, I think, a great competition, great games, some memorable games already. The Netherlands against Ukraine, all three Italian performances have been fantastic. The France game was very interesting. The first one beating Germany, then the draw. Yeah, it's very good. Germany were outstanding against Portugal. I did not see that coming. I don't think many did
they? And I have to say that's my standout game so far.
Yeah, and I thought there was a good chance that Germany would get out of it, would get kicked out of the competition, because if they lost to Portugal, it would have been all over, right? I predicted a draw, as you know, but they were outstanding. Outstanding.
Speaking of predictions, got a little surprise for you later as well, by the way, because we've had Kevin Campbell on today, so you're not getting off lightly also. But I need to give a special mention also, George, to the refs, because I think they've been absolutely brilliant, and credit where credit's due. You know, we're very quick to moan about the standard of refereeing and what goes on, but VAR, it's not needed because the refs have been really good.
So this European Championship, the Euros, has been very revealing in the following aspect. We've had excellent standard of refereeing, including some English Premier League refs. Now, you know that I'm down on English Premier League refs in the Premier League. Well, all of a sudden, they're performing very well at the Euros. Could it be that the people on the other end of the VAR are doing their job properly, as opposed to those at St George's Park or whatever it is in the UK? Because the VAR has not been controversial in any way, shape or form in the Euros so far, right?
It's funny because I'll take you back to a Hollywood Ball show maybe about 3 months ago. And I said, I was speaking to a very good refereeing friend of mine, Keith Hackett, a legend of referees, who he refereed your Spurs FA Cup final. Now, he said there's nothing wrong with VAR. It's the people that are operating it. And your point there is proven because, as I say, it's not needed, but we don't want to. Let's concentrate on the positives of the tournament.
But yes, so far, you've got to take your hats off to the refereeing, and the standards of refereeing has been absolutely appropriate. They don't make the game about themselves. They allow the game to be free flowing, and every decision has been justified. Even the close ones, you can see their perspective. No issues. So fair play to the referees. Well done.
What did you make of the Italy-Wales game? I mean, both sides, I thought, Wales have gone through, even though they lost the game. But again, it was sort of one of the games where I was expecting a little bit more.
Well, look, one of the things I will observe is despite the fact that Gareth Bale has played very well the last two games, he seems to have forgotten his scoring boots, right? He missed a penalty in the prior game, and he missed, for him, an absolute sitter to equalise. Yep. The ball came down on his left foot. You'd think that's the equaliser. That was one of the first memories I have of the game. Italy made 8 changes, and yet still they managed to be free-flowing. So Mancini, is it Mancini or is it Mancini?
It's Mancini. Did you see him bring that ball down?
Yeah, exactly right. yeah, that's right. But Mancini, he's got them, they're humming.
Yep.
To make 8 changes and for the Italian team to play so smoothly in such rhythm, it's gorgeous to watch. It was a good game. Wales are obviously the underdogs. I think they did very well. 10 men. Kiefer coming on made a big difference. I thought that was an excellent substitution.
Yep.
That caused the Italians some level of problems. The Italians should have scored more. I predicted that they were going to win 2-0, so I missed out by 1. But they were great. They were great. And Wales did incredibly well.
Special mention, just literally quickly outside of the Euros, because the best game that I watched yesterday took place for a National League playoff between Hartlepool and Torquay. And you talk about all of the emotions in football, and this is why it's so great to have fans back. Hartlepool were winning. Torquay had a corner in the 93rd minute.
I know.
The keeper came up, buried the header. And I said to my dad, we were watching it, and I said, this keeper loves it. He literally wanted a penalty shootout. He was walking around, and it reminded me of the old Bruce Grobbelaar days. But for a football fan, they must have gone through every emotion. But it was so good to see fans back in the stadium, and Hartlepool won on penalties.
Yeah. And when it was 1-0, just a few minutes before that, they had an incredible opportunity, and they missed an open goal. How did he get it over the bar? It's incredible.
From there, I don't know.
If he tried to get it over the bar, he would have failed, right? That's incredible. Great game. It's the beautiful game, right? It's the beautiful game.
It's beautiful for Hartlepool now because they're back in football properly, which is absolutely fantastic for our northeast friends and family. I've got to go to today's games. There's some massive games. Mm-hmm. You look at Finland and Belgium. Finland can actually join Belgium in the last 16. And I expect them to get a point tonight. Not many people do. I think that Belgium will rest 1 or 2 players because they're already done. They're in, and I think Finland will go for it. But it's going to be a fascinating game. Yeah,
I suspect KDB, Kevin De Bruyne, may be rested given the injury he's just come back from. Key to it is Lukaku. I think if he starts. It's how Finland. If Finland can keep him quiet, if they can, they have a very good chance. Belgium have been very good in one game. The other game were okay. Finland, the Denmark game we know all about that. But Finland are better than I thought, frankly, and they've got a chance. Wouldn't surprise me if it was a draw, which would be enough for Finland, right, to take them through.
Exactly, and I have to say as well, as we talk about Belgium and we talk about the wealth of attacking talent, George, but they're not great at the back. They're not the best. And Martinez, I've followed. I mean, from his days at Wigan, Everton. It's all about attack. So if Finland fancy getting at it, I think we could be both right on that one, and there could be a nice result.
Yeah, I mean, look, the spine of the back of the defence, they're not that young anymore. You've got Toby Alderweireld, you've got Jan Vertonghen. I mean, they're not spring chickens anymore, right? 33 and 34, I think, is the age, right? The ages. So, I mean, it's all about, I believe, can Finland score? If Finland score, I fancy them to get a point.
Me too. So we're agreed on that one. Russia and Denmark.
I just want to feel that the Danes have brushed that cobweb of the tragedy with Christian Eriksen, who's now wonderfully well and everything looks good. Don't think he'll play again, obviously. So I think the Danes will want to go out on a high, right? And I think on that basis, I'm sorry.
They've got home advantage as well. So
yes, and the Russians don't seem to be as good as they were very recently. I fancy the Danes to win, to be candid. I think they want to go out with a bang. I think they want to say a thank you to Christian Eriksen. Now everything's okay. I think they want to say thank you to the fans, both in Denmark and all over the world, for the love that everybody showed Christian Eriksen. I'll fancy the Danes. What do you think?
It's Group B's so tight that and I do think that mental torture that they've had from that disastrous, it's got to play. I mean, if you look at the captain and what he went through as well, but then again, footballers are footballers, and they will, as you probably rightly said, they'll just want to do even more. I fancy a score draw, but I think there will be goals.
Yeah, listen, look, the beautiful game has everything in it, and on the very odd occasion, it has some incredibly sad developments, like we saw with Christian Eriksen. I think the Danes need a very good performance. They need to get that experience out of their system. Otherwise, they're going to carry it with them forever, of course. But they want to go out not feeling sorry for themselves. They want to go out not feeling the pain of Christian Eriksen. They want to go out with a bang. I think you'll see a very energetic performance from the Danes. I think you'll see that. And I think that will be just enough to take them to 3 points.
I've got to say, rattle through some quick hellos. Samuel's in, Francis is here, Hussein, Simos and Dilip all messaging. Thank you so much for your support. Who else is here? Rachel. Ubdeki is here as well, from Nigeria. Fantastic support, guys. If I could ask if you would subscribe to the channel, as Dilip's just said, that would be fantastic. I'd appreciate it. Next game, George, is North Macedonia against the team that I've enjoyed watching, the Netherlands.
Before you go, where's Dilip from? Does he say?
Dilip Kumar.
India?
He's in India, yes.
Hi, Dilip. Nice to hear from you. Sorry, which game?
I'm going North Macedonia against Netherlands, who are my favourite team so far. The Netherlands.
Yeah, I think the Netherlands will be. They have too much for North Macedonia. I really think that. It won't be, a massive score. I think 2-1. I think the Dutch may concede a goal. North Macedonia, very proud nation. Yeah, they'll give it a good crack. It'll be a good game. I've barely seen any bad games. Right, the worst game I think was England-Croatia.
Oh yeah, totally. Absolutely right? Agree. Absolutely agree.
I mean, and there have been so many highlights. The Italian performances have been wonderful for me. The Scottish performance against England was fantastic. I enjoyed that thoroughly. They were so good, the Scots.
Should have won in the second half. Should have won in the second half.
Yeah, they should have. They should have got 3 points. I love Wales, the underdog as always. The Dutch have played very well. Like I said, the Italians. The French in the first game. Second game was a very interesting game, but it's still so early, isn't it? It's still so early.
Early doors.
Yeah.
There's a big game tonight, which has gone under the radar a little bit because there are, as I say, there's 4 games, but Ukraine play Austria, right? And a win for either of them will take them through to the last 16. I mean, that's massive, isn't it?
This, I think, it's not that we've all been very good at predicting. I certainly have not. This is a this is one of the most difficult games to predict so far in the tournament, in my opinion. I think they're very closely matched. Even now, as I speak to you, Pete, I don't know how I'll call this. I think because the victory is so important as opposed to just a 1 point, so yeah, I don't know.
For it.
Yeah, I think, I just don't know how to call it. It's that close, I think. What's your perspective? Are you going for an Austria?
I was thinking that, and then I looked at the stats. I was looking at the stats again this morning, and it is what it's a flip of a coin, actually. I think it depends how they set up. If Austria, I believe from what I understand in their formation and setup, I think that Austria could have the just slightly more firepower. But never ever back against them. I mean, look what we said about Germany. Everyone was like, "Oh, Germany's out," and they whipped Ronaldo's boys big time, didn't they?
Germany could have scored more than 4.
It was incredible. That.
When was the last time Portugal conceded 4 goals? For God's sakes! I mean, wow, that's some performance. So anyway, back to Ukraine and Austria.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling. I don't know. I'm going to go Ukraine. I've got to choose one. I've been on the fence all day about that one, to be honest.
Yeah, Alex has said he's just messaged. We're both on the fence, and he's put the emoji eyes on. You're right, Alex. We are on the fence.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
It's too hard to call. But looking forward to them. I mean, there you go. I mean, some cracking games. And as I said to you last week, really wanted to mention. Speaking of huge games, is the Copa America, and because I know you love your South American football. Uruguay, Chile tonight.
Yeah.
What a great game! Did you know? Go on.
Go ahead.
Did you know that the Copa America is the world's oldest football tournament?
No, I did not.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Wow. That stat today. Which is why
the atmosphere in that game will be electric. It will be electric. I mean, what time is that kickoff? It's.
I can tell you right now.
10 o'clock UK time, correct?
It's 10 o'clock. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. I can squeeze that one in. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's.
Have you got
Uruguay.
3 tellies lined up? So you can watch Copa, Euros.
But the thing is like, if I'm not mistaken, the sequence is that the last game tonight at Europa League leads into the Uruguay game.
It does. It does indeed.
Yeah.
So there's another full evening of football for you.
I just can't wait.
Listen, Brazil, as ever, marching on. They've won 2 so far.
Yeah.
But South American controversy reigns. I was reading about the Chilean team who violated the bubble to go and get a haircut.
Yeah.
And then they blamed the barber. Absolutely brilliant.
What was the outcome of that? I mean, there's a lot of,
They've been fined. But they've had no points or anything taken away from them. They got a fine, which obviously the federation will take care of. Marcelo Martins, he was banned because he actually came out after the fine, criticised everyone. So he's been banned for 1 game in the Copa. But like I say, it can never go quietly there, can it?
No, it's. I mean, South American football is a dream. I love it. Like I told you, one of the highlights of my life is always watching, if I could say, Brazil versus Argentina. That's just a mammoth game. Whenever that happens,
which will be fantastic, by the way, when we do our Geordie Pete and TFA George Samba Summer. We're going to have a series of South American starlets to join us. We'll have to prime ourselves for that, George. You get your sombrero ready, and But listen, we've had.
I'll have you know, I have both a Brazilian and an Argentinian shirt.
Okay, well, we'll be good then, because we've got Mirandina, Colaccini, we've got Tino Asprilla as well. So you'll have to get yourself a Colombian shirt from somewhere as well. Listen, Kevin Campbell's been on today, and he's been throwing the gauntlet about again.
Here we go. Here we go.
Honestly, his message. He sent me a video message, which will go out towards the weekend about, and you're involved in it as well.
Yeah.
Alex Haddo, myself, Lee Cosgrove, our great friend from Manchester, who's done very well in his predictions. But Kev's buoyant because it's a new season. So we interviewed each other today, and he said, "Look, you've got to get George involved." So what we're doing is we're trying to get ahead of the curve with a Premier League preview. I know we're still in the Euros, but we're talking Premier League.
What, today?
Yes. We're going to be giving you...
Pete,
we're going to put you on the spot.
Geordie Pete, you can't do this to me, man. You and Kevin Campbell, Super Kev, have conspired against me. That is not on. You wait. Super Kev, where are you? Where are you?
So what we've got is we've got the first round of fixtures from the Premier League, first weekend, and we're gonna put you on the spot right now.
Yeah, that is below the belt. That is beneath you and Super Kev. You wait when I get Kevin Campbell back on. All right then, go. I can't believe you're doing this. That's bad form.
Friday the 13th.
That's not a yellow card. That's not a yellow card. That's a straight red card. Come on,
he did it to me. Friday the 13th of August, unlucky for some. It's Kev's Arsenal, and they're at Brentford away. What's your thoughts?
Brentford at home, first game of the season. Jesus, I can't believe you guys have done this to me. I'm going to go for a big 2-2.
Okay, I took a score draw as well. Kev laughed at me
2-2.
when I said that. I took 1-1.
Kevin thinks Brentford's going to win, does he?
No, of course not. Then we got into Burnley against Brighton, which is on the Saturday. But before that, the early game on the Saturday is the big game of the weekend. It's Man United against Leeds. What a great opening weekend fixture.
I can't believe you did this to me. Okay, Man United Leeds. I think Leeds are going to be on fire. I'm going to go controversial. I'm going to say Leeds will win.
Yeah,
I'm going to say 2-1 to Leeds. The way they finished off the end of the season, they've got momentum. You know, they do concede, but I'm going for it. I'm going to give it 2-1 to Leeds. Man U didn't start well last season.
No, they're not good starters. Starters.
No. I'll give it to Leeds. I'll give it to Leeds 2-1.
Okay, and then we've got again a massively important game when you start in. You've got Burnley and Brighton, who both struggled towards the end of last season. They were both down the wrong end. So it's important because these managers, they look at these games, don't they, as there's 7 or 8 games where you think that's a must-win. And for Burnley and Brighton, day one, that's a must-win, isn't it?
And this is at Turf Moor. Burnley at home,
yes.
Right?
Yeah,
but
it is.
Burnley to win 1-0.
Burnley to win 1-0. Chelsea are involved in a local South London derby. They play Crystal Palace, still looking for a manager. This is the other thing as well that I was laughing with Kev. You know, we're picking scores and doing scores here where we don't even know. So many teams haven't got managers.
Everton, Crystal Palace. Everton, Crystal Palace. Of course, Spurs. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Chelsea Palace.
At the Bridge?
It's at the Bridge.
3-0 Chelsea.
Exactly the same score as me. Everton.
What did Super Kev say?
He had 3-1.
Yeah. Okay. I can't believe he's done this to me. You wait. Okay. Next. Super Kev, where are you?
Everton. Everton start their campaign at home to Southampton.
Don't even know the manager there. Don't even know the goings and the comings. Jeez, it's a difficult one. That's a blind call. Everton, Southampton, 1-0 to Everton.
Yep, I've got 2-0 Everton. I think that they'll be too strong for Southampton, whoever is. Midlands, great. Hold on, I've got to put this one up first before we do. Just had the best comment in of the night. George will be managing Spurs by then. From Silent Bowman.
I've already rejected the job. But the way I figure it, the others have. So why shouldn't I?
Midlands derby opening day. Leicester are at home to Wolves. Great game.
Yeah, I think Leicester will have too much. A new manager in Wolves hasn't still been finally appointed, has he? I don't think so. Leicester, they're going for it in the postseason with a couple of new players. I think this will be comfortable for Leicester. I will go 2-0 for Leicester.
Exactly the same as me, and exactly the same as Super Kev as well. Just to reiterate Neil Archer's message, don't mention the code. The code's there for a reason. And we, as I said before, I don't like being a moaner, but we do have all your details, so don't spoil it for everyone.
I do think the surprise of next season will be Aston Villa.
Aston Villa.
Yeah, they've got some momentum. They've made some good players. There's a good feeling in the club. If they can keep Grealish, I think Villa could have an outstanding season.
An interesting game for them, George, because their first game is away to Watford. So that's a big game for Watford as well, back in the Premier League.
Yeah, back in the Premier League. I love Sarr. I was surprised Watford held him when they went down the season before last. That's going to be a tough one. I'm actually going to go for a draw there, a 1-1 draw.
Again, the same as me. It's probably why we're always middle of the table, you and I, George. We pick the same scores. Norwich, they open their campaign at home to Liverpool. But it's what the Norwich fans love, isn't it? They just enjoy it. They treat it as an occasion to be in the Premier League, and they love it. So they just love going to the games. But what a game to start with. Norwich-Liverpool.
Great game. I think Norwich will score. I think Liverpool will end up winning 2-1.
Okay. I've gone 3-1 Liverpool. Super Sunday. It doesn't start off very super. It's Newcastle against West Ham.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. If Newcastle can continue Newcastle were very unlucky not to beat West Ham at the back end of last season, right? At St James's Park. If Steve Bruce has a full squad available to him and he goes for it, I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for the Geordies. Away the lads.
Yep, they've got
away the lads.
2-0. Kev's got 2-1. We've got a good record as well against West Ham, so I do fancy that if he's got everyone fit. And there's a certain centre half that they're looking at from Celtic coming down from Glasgow. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that could make a big difference. And then, best for last, your beloved Spurs. They open up against Man City. That's a bit of a tall order, isn't it?
I think this is the first time Man City beat Spurs at Spurs for a long time. But again, it's unfair to call it because let's say Spurs appoint Ten Hag, he'll change the players. There'll be 5 or 6 going out, 3 or 4 coming in. So who knows? I'll go City to win 2-1.
I've got exactly the same. People are going to think we've got each other's score sheet here.
What did Super Kev say? No doubt he said Spurs will win, right?
In your dreams, yeah. He's obviously taken C. Listen, absolutely fantastic catching up with you, George. I love it. I love our reviews and previews.
Although you and Kevin conspired, Super Kev, against me today. I owe you guys one.
Yeah, well, you can do. So what I'm going to do before we leave and before I put the last code out is just ask you, is there any updates or anything that you want to speak to us about in TFA? Literally, things are changing daily. There's new segments in the app. Every time I look in the app, there's something new. Is there anything you want to tell us?
The users are growing. The community is growing. Our partnerships are growing. We hope to have some news fairly soon with a very big club, maybe more. The association is having incredible impact. The TFA Worldwide Association. The London Black Cab story seems to be attracting a lot of attention.
Rightly so.
Yeah, because you see, the black cab drivers won't lose money and they'll make money, and it's easier, and it's all through the community use of the football app. So there's a lot going on. We'll get on more exchanges with the token, the TFC. Yeah, busy. The team is very busy.
Can we get a black cab driver on?
Sure. We'll ask him. The black cab driver on, or the guy who owns the company. I'll reach out to him, and I need to warn you though. He's a Spurs fan.
Oh, that's fine by me.
Right.
It's only Kev that you have to warn about that.
That's the warning. That's the warning.
I'm fine with Spurs.
But he's very clear, very sharp young man. He's got a big company with a lot of black cabs, a lot of drivers, and he's really driven this. And it'd be interesting to see his perspective.
Alex says that his dad's won. Brilliant. More black cab drivers, the better.
Yeah.
Could be quite the show, that, couldn't it? From London town.
We'll get him on. Do you want to get him on during the Euros?
Yeah, we're on. You know, we're on most days with our Euro show. All that remains me to do is thank everyone, as always, and literally with your last second of the show to give you the number 3 code, because everyone's going mad for the codes as normal. George has been brilliant. I hope you enjoy your football tonight with in front of your three tellies on the sofa. You'll be flicking the switches and the controls to see who's doing what. There we go. Monday code 3 WZ. It's a good night from Geordie Pete, and it's a good night from George. Thanks, guys.